because the LSC, Metropolitan Swimming, that's local swimming committee, requires every club to have a certain number of officials to be able to host meets. Not only do we host meets so we can give our kids a convenient place to swim, we host meets because those meets generate revenue that help keep the costs of your children's training at a reasonable level. So it's very important that the club continue to be able to host meets. To do that, we need to have officials. My goal after tonight is to get 5 of you to decide that you're going to make the commitment to become an official. It is not hard, all right? You just need to be persistent. I can tell you from my own experience, getting recruited to become an official when my daughter was 8 years old, that it's the best thing I ever did to be able to connect with her swimming. Because I'm not up in the stands at Felix Fest at a meet. I'm down on deck getting to enjoy watching the swimming up close and personal. I've learned the rules, so I understand what she's doing. And when a hand goes up and she gets disqualified, I understand why, instead of kind of being confused and not really understanding it. It really allows you to get more personal and involved with your kids swimming in an appropriate way without being the crazy parent that's, doing what we see in youth athletics all the time. All right? I can also tell you that becoming an official is incredibly rewarding. As you become an official and become more experienced, there is a real sense of having accomplished something with delivering a quality experience for the kids. I can tell you that every official that steps on deck has as their number one goal for every kid to get a fair, honest, and impartial opportunity to swim their best. And that only comes from people like you stepping up to get involved. What you're going to get in a few days is an email from Mary, which is going to outline exactly what needs to happen. All right? There is a test. It's all online. There's a webinar, and there's a couple of them scheduled throughout the next couple of weeks. And you would sign up for the webinar, attend it. There's an opportunity to give back and forth responses in the webinar. And then once you've done your test and passed, you only have to get an 80, so that's pretty good. Attended and participated in the webinar and done a few other things, you then can step on deck as an apprentice. And after working 6 sessions, 4 of them you can do in one weekend if you want, because you have to work 2 different meets. You can't do all 6 in one weekend. But after 6 apprentice sessions, you become an official, which allows you to make stroke and turn determinations during a meet. You can work your way up from there. If you really get turned on about it and you want to go all the way, you can become a chief judge and a starter and a referee, all right? And start to work championship meets and sectionals and zones and go to, and go and do junior nationals or senior nationals if you want to continue to go that far. One of the really cool things is, I know the team is going to be going on a trip this winter to a travel meet. Instead of going and sitting in the hotel and going and sitting in some strange place, if you're an official, you get to go and be on deck, be involved with the meet, be able to see the swimming up close and personal, get some pretty decent free food, all right? And really have a better experience in that trip than just hanging out and waiting for your kid to spend 45 seconds in the water. It really is, from my experience, the best way to enjoy a meet. All right, so what I'm going to ask you to do is to respond to the email from Mary by emailing me, all right? And I'll have some information as to, what I need to be able to identify you. And then I'll direct you as to where to go to sign up for the webinar and so on. But we must get 5 officials, 5 new officials to grow our ranks so that we can continue to host meets and service this club the way we have been. The worst thing that a club can do is have a meet and be dependent on the goodness of other volunteers from other clubs to be able to have the meet to run. For every session of a Phoenix meet, we should be able to have 5 or 6 of our own officials on deck at every session. And we haven't been able to do that yet. But if we can do that and become independent of the other clubs, when those other volunteers come, we have a plethora of officials. There's plenty of room and plenty of people for doing rotations so people can get breaks, get off deck to be able to watch their child swim if that's what they'd like to do. You know, many hands make for light work. So I implore you, I encourage you, to a certain extent I beg you, to seriously consider this. Talk to those parents that aren't here tonight. Talk to your spouses that aren't here tonight. And come on out and decide to become a certified swim official. You will not regret it. I've been doing it. My daughter's 21 now, and it has become one of those great joys of my life, to the point of where when I go to work in national meet, my wife doesn't even give me crap anymore, all right? Because she knows it's something that I really enjoy, all right? If you have any questions, when you get the email, you'll have my address in there. Please email me back and ask away. I'm here to answer those questions and to help you decide that you do want to do this. Thank you very much. This is an awesome club. You have the best coach in Metropolitan Swimming for your child. I'm telling you right now, this is the best coach. All right? So you're in the right place if you want your child to progress. Thank you.
I'll see you soon. I owe him $5. So, anyway, I'm going to let Michael run this meeting because he put this together. He's the most organized guy on the planet Earth. But I want to say a few more things. As coaches, the things that we do are not just on the deck. We're in the office probably another at least 20 hours a week if we're not answered phone calls or whatever. We'll always answer an email, we'll always answer a text, we'll always answer a phone call. You're not going to have to wait if you have questions. If you reach out to Mary within the day, she will very likely get back to you. We want to have really great communication. We want our families to know that they can trust what's going on with their kids, what's going on with the club. Not everybody likes surprises unless it's their birthday or Christmas. So we want to make sure that everybody's well informed. Now, the officiating part of all this is part of USA Swimming. Volunteers, there are 400,000 USA registered swimmers in America. 400,000. 10 years ago, there was 200,000. So the sport has grown exponentially. And this club has been in existence a little less than 5 years, and we have grown. We've had some growing pains, but we are in a very, very good place. Again, we've got good coaches. We're looking to add more to our staff, and we want to make sure that our kids are taken care of. We're going to work on their skills, their technical skills, because if they don't have good technical skills, they will have a low ceiling when it comes to reaching your potential. So the better the skill, the higher the potential. We're committed to making that happen. We also are aware of everything that needs to be age appropriate too. We're not going to have 9 and 10-year-olds in the water for 2.5 hours. Now, with our dry land and our swimming, I think it's a great system that we have in place. We're going to just continue to build on it. We're always looking for additional pool space and pool time to try to make things more convenient. I know that for 20 weeks in the winter, it's a little tougher. HNA has been a great help for our younger swimmers. We're looking to add to that, and as information becomes available, we'll share it with you. I'm going to turn it over to Michael, and I appreciate everybody being here. And like Phil said, pass this information on to your spouse. If somebody wasn't here, let them know what happened at the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Hi again. My name is Coach Michael. You know me, I lead senior prep group, and this season I'll be also working with gold and bronze groups. So I hope everybody is excited to be back, and you had a good summer break. By the end of September, probably our honeymoon will be over. We're structuring right now everything, and then we go. And of course, we'd like to share a couple of things with you, our vision, values, and mission of this club, and especially for the new parents who are joining our family. I think this is very, very important. I'm gonna try to just go through the slides.
Just a real quick hands up if you're new. Just take a look at the parents that are old. Welcome the new ones.
I will post the podcast online, and those parents who couldn't make it today, they will be able to go through this information. But thank you very much for joining, because I know how time is valuable. So we'll try to wrap it up fast. We, like Coach Wagner said, our club has grown a little bit up to 130 athletes, and pretty much this is our structure. We still want our base and foundation of gold, silvers, and bronze to be larger, because it's really, really important to have a big reserve, to have biggest impact on that age group, on little kids.
And the goal is not only to develop Olympians and competitive swimmers, but as a part of USA Swimming, we'd like to attract more kids into sports. We know about problems of nowadays lack of exercise. We know that the rate of obesity has only increased in the US, especially in the age group 6 to 11, according to the National Center for Chronic Disease Control. And one of the contributing factor is a decline in physical activity during the childhood. Also, we do understand that drowning remains a leading cause among children. We want to create, again, a program where we could send a message, let the community know that we, all year round club, there's an opportunity to learn to swim and put the kids in the right program, which is Phoenix Aquatic Club.
Our values with the small kids who join club and want to create love of swimming, our goal is to bring them to the point where they could develop strong characters, and that all goes through the sport of swimming. Integrity and lifetime leadership. Leadership is so important. We want them to be leaders. We want them to lead by examples. And the best example is like, do what you preach. Like if you try to be a good example, this is what you do. And their profiles will be their proof. Vision to inspire swimmers so they could excel to their full potential. Like Coach Wagner said, it's athlete-centered philosophy. We would like to utilize all the resources, everything what we have to create best swimmers. And it doesn't work if only coaches are involved. Everyone has to be there. Parent, coaches, and swimmers, then that story will be successful. We all start kind of with developmental mindset and taking steps. And in order to see the success, you have to stick to it and see how the story unfolds. It's always up and down. It's never going to be like this. But you just got to be consistent. They got to be consistent, and you as a parent, you have biggest impact. We have 3 hours where we can control. You have 21 hours. So the way they sleep, the way when they wake up, what they eat, and those things that you could control. You could make positive impact.
A lot of athletes who talented, mentally driven, who are great athletes. But what do you think it is that separates out those athletes to become the incredible, ultimate elite athletes, the Jordans, the Gretzkys?
I wanted to do something that nobody had ever done before. And that started with a dream and a goal. I wanted to be the greatest of all time. I went 5 straight years without missing a single day of workout, 365 days a year. Every single day I was in the water. And in the sport of swimming, when you miss one day, it takes you 2 days to get back. So I was already I was continuing to build on that throughout that time. And you know, that was kind of just how I was. There are days you're not going to want to do it, sure. I mean, everybody has those days. But it's what you do on those days that help you move forward.
And this is our mission of the club, to achieve success in the sport of swimming through coaching, teaching PAC members to reach their full athletic and personal potential in a safe, positive, and competitive environment based on trust and shared love for the sport of swimming. So our environment culture of the club is create environment where they help each other, and that environment help them to really see their potential and to see in the future how good they could be. And that requires a lot of work, because if you have a group of kids who don't follow all the rules and discipline, it becomes chaotic and it affects everyone else. So we don't want that destructive environment. We try to teach them how they could affect each other in a positive way. Everything starts from discipline, leading by good example. If I'm going to be on time multiple times and others, then we affect those who might not be that consistent. Or if I'm putting 100% of effort every practice, everybody will follow me.
Positive attracts positive. If the team culture is right, every swimmer will be right.
Our seasonal goal is 100% attendance and meet participation. There's no way we could take those the puzzles away from the training and then in the end have a great picture. It's not going to be great. So consistency requires in everything, whether you learn language or any other skill. And this becomes really important to us as you guys have expectations. In order to have expectations, we want to have the same level of our training. Second, to become top 5 metro teams, we've been in the top 10, actually top 8. We finished this season top 8 in different championships. So we definitely want to get in the top 5, and this is our priority. Phil Paspalis said we want more parents to be involved in volunteering and also get certified and help at the swim meets. Our long-term goal, and that's where we focus as well, is of course to become gold level club. Their clubs for 500 kids, and gold level club means you represent at the national level, championship meets, also Olympic trials, and that's basically defines the club, the capacity and the top swimmers in the club. But this is our long-term project, and we're striving and we're aspiring to one day to reach there and to have our own pool where we could have more consistent schedule and more, I would say, conditions to develop our athletes. And ultimate goal is to represent the club at Olympic trials, Tokyo Olympic trials. Our club exists for just a couple of years, and we already been at the Olympic trials, and we've won a lot of different championships. So I already talked about the athlete center philosophy. Everybody is involved, and if we take one puzzle away, if parents are not involved, or coaches, or athletes don't put their 100% effort, we're never going to get to that level. As a parent, just try to support the kids as much as possible. The way I look back and I see usually when kids grow, for some reason parents tend to think that, now I don't need that much involvement. Now it's actually opposite, because there are a lot of decisions to make and you really want to support them on that and guide them through. Our goal, of course, Coach Wagner takes big responsibility. He contacts head coaches from different colleges and he gives the references of his athletes. I've heard many times he being on the phone and spending like hours and hours talking about one athlete, just to get him in the right school, or her in the right school, in the right program. If they earn athletic scholarship, that's a huge saving for the parents. And I think everyone has a chance to get into those Division I programs. So, just to wrap up, the role of parent is, like I said, it's all about support. You're gonna see not so good races and very good races, but bad race doesn't mean a bad person. So, as much as possible, support and be loving. When they come back from the practice, ask questions about how they feel. Ask questions about certain goals that they achieved, and this is important to communicate. Usually, I know their answer. Good. How was the practice? Good. Try to develop that conversation. Ask more, because that's what they do. Good. Very good. Gone. Those devices taking over.
Can I say one thing? One more thing on that. Your kids, we're always trying to challenge them. And sometimes, they accept the challenge and sometimes they don't. So there's always consequences. I mean, if we want kids to do things, we're not unreasonable, but we know when we push them, we get results. All right? We don't want kids in a comfort zone all the time. That's not good. Again, you grow emotionally when you are challenged and you respond to that. So that's the great thing about this sport. And by the way, every day is a new day. Every practice is a new practice. We don't hold grudges. We just have expectations that really don't change. We want them to do things a certain way. We have to make sure that we provide that environment where they can accomplish those things being done the way we want them done. But we know if they do the things we want them to do, they'll find out how good they can be. So every day is not a good day, typically not. But if they make a good effort every day, then it doesn't matter, because they eventually will succeed. And that's the most important thing. There are kids that you really have to push them to get them to work. But again, if they make good efforts every day, they'll find out how good they can be. And that is the bottom line as far as I'm concerned. And, we do what we need to do to make that happen. But I would say, for the most part, the environment in practice is always positive. It can be nurturing, and sometimes, we have to say, listen, man, I don't want to see that again. So, just so you know, we will always be looking out for their best interest, and that was my segue into Michael's comments.
And that might be a really good question. What was challenging? What was challenging at the practice?
So I just want to talk about a couple things that I deal with parents. A lot of times you might be upset, or you're not sure, like you're not happy with something, and the child's not happy, and you're talking it within your family, you're talking about it with your swim parent. Try not to do that, because what we want your children to do is come to us. If you're having a problem, first we'd like the children to come to us, and if the children can't do it, then the parent should come to us, to their coach. If the coach isn't giving you the answer that you want, then you go to the head coach, and then you bring the problem to the head coach, because we care. And we do understand that sometimes we might not be getting it, but we don't get it if we don't know about it. So if there's an issue, always bring it to us, because another parent can't solve the problem. You know, we can and we will do whatever we can to try to make it right for your child and for you, and whatever we can do to accommodate. If you're having trouble with the schedule, you're having trouble with getting to the swim meet, talk to a coach, okay? I think it's good, and especially for little ones, if they're not enjoying it, I want to know. I want to know, like, oh, they're struggling, they don't want to come, or they sometimes want to come. I want to know, because then I can do something different in practice and pay attention to what they might not be enjoying in that particular time or that hour. So I can help that way. So I would rather a parent tell me rather than just say, oh, we're not going to do it anymore. So I've helped a lot of kids get through a little, time where they're struggling, and I just, like I said, the communication, follow the parent code of conduct.
I highly recommend do not write those emails. Okay, thank you. That's gonna be my ask, because I don't have that much time write you nice memoirs. If the issue is something that gotta be resolved old-fashioned way, let's just talk over the phone. I would probably advise same way to contact Coach Wagner. It's just going to be way better. My past over decade coaching, I've read a lot of emails, and some of them were like, it's interesting, how people emotional, they want to express themselves. I just want to know where they get so much time, unless they're like really good writers, because it takes a while. It's very impressive email. Things to remember, guys. Our handbook constantly changing. We want everyone to, whether you've been with the club or you're a new member, just to go over it and understand the structure. I 100% guarantee after you read that handbook, you'll be more aware of things. Also, important dates, it's good to create a little reminders for yourself. As much as I can, as possible, I try to squeeze those reminders over the Facebook and send an email. We have deadlines for our events and for our meets. That's where it's kind of a little bit sensitive topic, because no one will accommodate us. We're not VIP section. If you didn't send it on time, the entire team will be out of the meet. We don't want that. We want to have at the certain time, we want to have full roster. We sent it, and we know that we're in. And I know some parents would ask, can we please squeeze? Can we squeeze my child? Sorry, I forgot. Yeah, it could be done, but to a certain extent, because we could send an update maybe once, but we're not going to be sending those updates every time a new swimmer wants to, be part of it. Our role, Coach Wagner said a lot about how much we want to impact kids on their training, and it's difficult because, like I said, anything you do in life requires consistency. Unfortunately, doing it once in a while not gonna make you good. Those things that we do once in a while, they don't make us good. Only those things that you do it every day. And I know some swimmers in the beginning of the season, they're so good. November, we're on fire. And then December, January, February, gone. And then they show up in March and they expect to be good. Or same thing, Monday, Wednesday, Friday present, Tuesday, Thursday, miss practice. If you missed one practice, you already won't feel good in the water. I'm talking about especially 13 and over.
I went 5 straight years without missing a single day of workout, 365 days a year. Every single day I was in the water. I went 5 straight years without missing a single day of workout, 365 days a year. Every single day I was in the water. I went 5 straight years without missing a single day of workout, 365 days a year. Every single day I was in the water.
So it is difficult. Some days are more difficult than the others, but we can trust that guy. He's good. He knows something about swimming, and that's actually incredible. I swam throughout, my to swim 365. It's just incredible because as an age grouper, there are a lot of people involved. You know, parents first of all, you got to bring into the practice, take it back. So I think Pat has done and made extraordinary job. And I think Michael, his profile, it wasn't like that. It's up and down. So expect that. You know, if the season is not going well, everything is fixable, everything is reversible. But parents and swimmers and coaches, everybody has to be really positive. One thing which is really important, if you already committed to the swim meet, those meet fees are non-refundable. And even when we host the meet, they remain non-refundable. I will explain why, and hopefully everyone could understand. We pay certain amount of money to Metro from the revenue that we make. 25, is that right? 25%? 20% goes straight to Metro. I call it, all right, I'm not gonna call it robbery, but I think that's just 20% goes to Metro. So a lot of parents expect like, oh, I'm sorry, we got sick, and you know, we didn't participate. If we'll be, you know, that flexible and giving back, we might even run into deficit. So this is the biggest procedure that why those fees are non-refundable. Plus, they're like, again, things to consider like budget. You know, we're budgeting, and based on the previous years, we already know where we'll land. It's not going to be more, it could be less. But if we full, there's certain basically capacity. Let's say we could accommodate 700 swimmers, we can't squeeze more because of the time limits. And like I said, the members' resources, you can find them online. They're tabbed for parents, for swimmers, and even for coaches. Easy accessible. I think a lot of interesting topics and articles and magazines. If I find something interesting, I usually post it there. You got access to the World Swimming magazine. I know kids, older kids like to read it. It's very informative. And communication, of course, emails remain our primary communication. Like I said, you could always reach Coach Wagner or I, and any coaches by phone. Secondary is communication with our social networks. There are a lot being posted on the Facebook, reminders, and we have our Twitter. So follow us and stay connected. I believe that's it on my part.
Okay,
thank you very much for joining. Let's have a
Guys, wait a minute.
Oh, Coach, you're on.
One short thing. So in addition to coaching this year, I'm coaching the Silvers. I'm also coaching the Master Team. So let me just explain in 2 minutes what is the Master Team. Master Team, we have about 20-something adults. The youngest are in the 30s, the oldest are in the 60s. We swim between 3 and 4 mornings a week. This is not, it is competitive, but you don't have to be fast to join. If you can swim 1 lap without stopping in the middle, you are very welcome. I think it's very rewarding. It's a very nice group of people. I think that we have 6 or 7 of the swimmers are parents related to swimmers. It's a nice group, not hard. Usually the stops, I mean, you rest like 15, 20, 25 seconds. So if you want to take it easy and swim slower, you still have the 20 seconds. It's not that you have to do something in increment that so if you have any interest, just stop by or shoot me an email. I'll give you all the details. We're swimming here now in the morning. It's very early in the morning, 5:15. The pool is nice and warm, and it's a lot of fun when it's outside really chilly and the water is warm. When we start with Festa and HNA, we swim in the morning at HNA. And if you prefer to swim when your kids swim in the same time in Festa, we always keep 1 or 2 lanes open for master in Festa. That's it.
Thank you and have a good night. If you give a word to our administrator Mary, she will explain a little bit more about volunteering and just some swim meets procedures. Yeah.
We usually host typically anywhere from 5 to 6 swim meets a year. The swim meets require a tremendous amount of volunteer effort to make them run. We need 16, 18 timers, we need a head timer, we need people to run the desk, we need meet marshals, people to run concessions. So it's very labor intensive. We do have required hours, which will be, you can see it on the sheet that Helen is handing out now. For each family, depending on what group your child swims in. About 3 weeks before our meets, you'll see on the website, we will put up the volunteer positions where you can sign into your account and check off what you want to do. We have some families that just do the required amount. We have some families that do thousands more hours than that. I mean, a lot of volunteering. So you need to do what you're required to do, but we will always take extra help if you like being on deck, being around the kids, and helping us out. It also has on that sheet the list of the meets that we will be hosting for this year and the dates. So if there's any time you have any question about volunteering or the meets, just email me. I'm more than happy to answer any questions anytime. Those questions are just some of the frequent questions that we have gotten in the past.
Co-chair. Are there any?
This is one of our parent volunteer coordinators who helps out, helps organize the volunteers when we actually get to the meet on deck. So she has a couple of things.
Just a couple of things. You guys, I know that you'll sign up for your hours that you can work around your children and things like that. Sometimes what happens is we get parents that do concessions and we get, a lot of parents that want to do that. The first place we need is timers. So we cannot run a meet without the timers. So if you see that we don't have enough timers, I'm going to ask you just, check in with somebody, make sure that we'll have enough timers by the time, the meet comes around. If we don't have enough timers, we will ask you to step in from another job, whether it's a runner or being up on a deck, so that you can help us out on deck. So in other words, what I'm saying is don't get upset if you wear a different hat than you signed up for, okay?
We try not to do that. If we don't have to do it, we
try
won't
not
do it. But we can't even start the meet unless 16 timers.
All right, so I am going to hopefully still do the concession. And what I do with the concession stands, I just buy everything. And then I put together the pricing, the listing, and I'm going to be asking for parents to be concession supervisors. Because last year we had Kevin Byman, who was our concession person, but he was there from the minute we opened to the minute we closed. That's 5 sessions, 2.5 days. And that wasn't fair to him, and we understand he did a great job, but we're not going to ask parents to do that again. So what we're hoping to do is parents who have some experience with concession or restaurant work can sign up for the concession supervisor. That will be more hours because you're going to be in charge and you're going to be supervising. I will always check in, but I'm also coaching. So that's just an area that we're going to need people. And we do have people who are already doing it. They know what to do. So I'm not too worried about getting concession supervisors. However, if you start working concessions and you want that position, jump on it. So any questions on that? Any questions at all about? We do really need the timers because we can't start the meet. We can start the meet without a concession worker. We can start the meet without a marshal. We cannot start without timers. so that, you know, get people to sign up for timers. If that's the first thing we can get people to sign up for, that would be like a relief for our coordinators, which is, by the way, Kathy Sampas, stand up. She's one of the coordinators, and Rico she's not here. She's a bronze parent, and Joanne Finley, and these guys are senior parents, and then we're going to need some lower parents to kind of help with that area. If you want to really stay in the sport, take on one of those positions. Okay.
Dear parents, here's the quick tutorial on how to opt out. So you log in to your account, and as you get to the home page, you navigate to the tab Event Sign Up. That's where you can find the schedule, current short course schedule. As you get to that page, you can see the entire procedure on opt-out of the swim meets. Also, you can find some useful tools like converters, time standards, and the results. On the table, in the table, you can see the meet information, appropriate group that has to attend, which is very important. If your group is not listed, that means you're not attending. As you click on the meet name, it will transfer you to the event page where you can find all the needed information. Files are posted down below. Usually that's a general information file, and entries. Now, as I'd like you to see those files, I'll pull it up from Archive, the meet that happened on October 28th last year, the same meet, Westchester meet. As we access that event page, you could see the meet packet information and all other files down below. The meet packet information includes everything you need to know: the location, sessions, and it's very important to know at which session your child will be swimming. Usually you could identify that by looking at the age group. If your child, let's say it's 13-14, then in this case he or she will be swimming in the session 2. Usually you could find all the events and the number of the events at the bottom of the file. So as you scroll down, all the way down to the bottom, you could find all the events for every session. So usually female are odd numbers of events and male are even numbers. So it's always girls swim first and then boys second. And it doesn't matter whether it's a relay or just a individual event. Let me access the entries. Usually when entries are finalized, they are posted. Entries include individual events and relays. So in example, Alan Liam, in this case he swam 6 events and he's got the numbers. Numbers correspond to the numbers of the events that you saw on the general information file. So as I go back, scroll down, I'll try to locate one of his events. 200 freestyle was event 14. As you could see on the general information file, 200 freestyle male event 14. And you could also check the session, which starts at 2 p.m. and the warm-up starts 1 p.m. That means that you have to be there 15, depends on our itinerary, but it's 15 to 30 minutes before the warm-up starts. That's important to be on time. If you'd like to opt out for that, let's say from that event, I'm gonna go back to our current schedule. You will click on the link. They're still they're still active. You'll click on the link on their opt-out deadline. As you click, the email will be open, and it generates email by default. If the link is not functioning, you could always just type that opt-out at phoenixaquatic.com. Put the subject regarding their particular swim meet. Usually you could put the date and write exactly from which session you'd like to opt out, or day, or the entire meet. Click send, and that would be it. Very simple way to opt out. This system works well. If you are, let's say, you're traveling, you don't have to do anything. Coaches select the events for their swimmers.